Hey everyone, this is Erin Ashley Simon.
This is Brandon Killabh.
And welcome to a new segment for Grassroots Podcast. It's called Rooted. It is a segment that we're going to do a deep dive into not only personal stories, but topics that really resonate with us on a personal level in some shape or form. Or we just think it's really funny to talk about. So today we actually have a really interesting topic. Brandon and I are going to be talking... Well, Brandon's going to start off, but we're going to be talking about the times where we've gotten stuck in crossfire.
Yeah. So a few weeks ago, I saw that a comedian by the name of Steve Brown was attacked on stage. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was from a joke or I don't know what happened with the circumstances.
Like living in a comedy
But it really reminded me of a time that I was performing with Joe. I think we were in, I want to say Rhode Island. I don't know what happened, but so we go on and we're performing, and in the midst of us performing, there's a guy in the middle of the crowd or whatever, and you can always kind of point this out. Like you can always see when someone just has bad intentions or they have like a bad vibe with them. So this guy's standing there, and then we lock eyes. Pause. So I'm looking at him, and I'm like, everyone seems to be having a great time, but you. This is off. Cool. It kind of also reminded me of Malcolm X, when Malcolm X is preaching at the end of the movie when he dies. Spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it. And he dies. And
that's a big spoiler.
Word. And the one guy, you can see it on his face that he's grimacing and something is wrong. So fast forwarding or rewinding back to my story. So the guy is standing there. And lo and behold, he pulls out a gun and starts shooting at the stage. Joe actually grabbed me and pulled me away. And
was it like directly, was he standing in the middle and just directly?
Literally in the middle of the crowd, just standing there, wasn't singing any lyrics, wasn't smiling. He was there for a reason. So he starts shooting at the stage, but a bunch of fans and people grab him or whatever. But Joe, like literally, because I was frozen, I was just like, "Oh shit, is this happening?"
Yeah.
And he pulls me and brings me to the back, and he's like, "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And then he was like, "Next time, move." Like he was pissed, but I was like, I didn't even know what was happening. Yeah. But the reason I'm obviously saying the story, because I thought about just security. Like we obviously took measures after that. We were kind of all on point.
Yeah.
As far as when we're performing, certain protocols with people around the stage, not by the stage, or just things that should never happen. You know what I'm saying? And obviously that's one of the extreme circumstances in the universe where, this guy happens to get into a venue. But I just thought about the guy, Steve Brown. I just thought, what was his security guard doing, or his security, or his friends, or his crew, something like. Even towards the end of Joe kind of performing, I thought a lot about where there were times where people would even get onto the stage or attempt to, and now because we were all on such high alert, it was like, oh no, fuck this. So we all would just stop, or he would stop, or make it known that something is happening. And I just think that for entertainers or comedians, just people in general that perform, you should always be cognizant of your surrounding areas and just people in the crowd. I'm very big on just paying attention to the movements and what's happening and shit like that.
And also it kind of goes to being aware within a club setting. So like from my experience, like I wasn't at a rap concert. I went to school in Kentucky. And there was a bar that we went to, and it was like the first time I actually went to this specific place. Like usually the bars that we go to were right near the college, and that's where we went to. And I mean, we kind of got like tired of that scene, and also a little bit tired of hearing country music at certain places. So then we went to this one spot where a lot of the athletes went to. So you saw like the basketball players, you saw some football players. I mean, there was just a lot of different people, and it was a great time, and it didn't look like anything was crazy going on inside. Like for your experience, how you said you saw that person and you just felt like a weird vibe, like you just no one really got that. But then we were hearing gunshots but it wasn't on the inside. Seemed like it was coming from the outside. So they were like rushing everyone in, and then they were telling people to get off the rooftop and stuff. And I was just like, yo, what the hell is going on? Now, luckily for me, like I've never really had to experience that, but like I guess maybe it's because of my athletic experience. Like something just clicked for me, and I was like thinking about, okay, what I need to do to make sure that myself and my friends are okay. Some of my friends froze. Like one of my friends freaked out so much, she was a DD and left us and like hid it in like under cars and stuff, and like wouldn't give my keys back. Her boyfriend had to walk back and give my keys. And me, you know, the cops eventually came. I took my friends. We went inside at first, and then something in me was like, we shouldn't be staying inside a room. I was like, let's go outside in the back. Like, there's no one back there. So I took them out in the back. I actually took them into the woods because there's like a wooded area. And the cops came, everything like that, and like we didn't really know what was going on because like when you can't see the shooter and you hear gunshots, sometimes it sounds like it's around you. Like you don't know what the hell is going on. And come to find out, like there's these guys or apparently like either they were like a gang affiliated or they just kids doing stupid kid stuff. And what they were doing was they were shooting the guns not at like through the building, because where we were partying, like you couldn't really see us through that. So what they were doing was shooting it up in the air in hopes that it will come down. And that's why they removed people from the rooftop. Gotcha. So it's wild. Like we live in an age where so many places just don't feel safe anymore. And like I said, this wasn't like a bar or club that was known for having trouble and everything like that I know of. Like I never went to a bar in Kentucky and had issues like that, but just to experience that, it's crazy. Yeah,
I mean, for me, it was one of those things where it was like a split-second decision. You know what I'm saying? Like he literally grabbed me, but in the midst of him Joe grabbed me, I was just like, what's happening? Yeah. And because I think I was so young at that time, just recording, I wasn't so aware. Like I didn't really know what to do, or I was just kind of inexperienced. Obviously if you from like the hood or something like that and from Jersey City, like you kind of know you can predict these things, but I'm focused on the crowd. Like I'm not really thinking that can happen in a what I deem to be a safe environment. You know what I'm saying? So it was definitely a learning lesson for me.
I mean, sometimes you have to. Sometimes, like I always tell people, you're not gonna always know how you're gonna react unless you're in that situation. Yeah, like I said, I've never had anyone shoot at me or be in a shooting or anything of that nature. So when it happens, like the survival instincts tapped in, and I was just like, nah, like we're not going out like this. But still, like just like you have other people, like my friends, that literally freaked out. And I'm not mad at my friend who was scared about like being like driving and all that stuff and like going to my car and she stayed with her boyfriend. But even still, like you never know what's gonna happen or how you're gonna respond in certain situations like that.
Yeah, I think all circumstances or situations just in general, you should definitely take something away from it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't just be a moment in time that happens and you're just like, oh, glad I survived that, or whatever the case may be. You should definitely harness something from that information, because you just never know when it'll come back in handy.
Did you have that like initial fear set in?
But that's the thing. I wasn't scared. It wasn't a scared type of feeling. It was one of those things where I was just kind of like stuck. I was like, oh shit, like where do I go? Like for me now, like when I walk into a venue, I look at, after that, I look at the exits. I look at where people could possibly jump up. I play out all different types of scenarios in my head just based off of that one circumstance that happened. So for me, I have a game plan, but when that happened, I didn't have a game plan. So I was just like, oh shit, like I'm just looking around like, what the fuck? What do I do? And then Joe pulled me, and then our DJ at the time, which was his brother Doolittle, we all rushed off the stage. They grabbed me, and immediately we just moved. And then that was pretty much it. Like it was never a fear. It was just like, damn, I'm like stuck. Like where do I go? What do I do? Type of thing.
Yeah, I would admit I definitely had an initial fear, but it was like a quick like, oh shit. And then it was like, all right, what do we need to do? But I think what also kind of helped me keep my cool was, like I said, I had alcohol in me, not to the point where I was just like sloppy drunk, but like I had a drink or two, and like, so it made me calmer. It made me not, it made me a little numb and not like freaking out and going crazy. And that's what, like, I don't know how I would have handled it if I didn't have that in me, to be honest. Like, I don't know, but I definitely had that initial fear, but I didn't have that initial fear like life flashing before my eyes. It was just kind of like oh shit, I've never personally experienced this kind of thing ever. Like I'm from the suburbs. Like, I'm never going to claim that, you know, I'm not. And I've never had to deal with those. And even when I visited my family, you know, back when I was younger in Brooklyn and Camden and other places, it's weird, I never felt like I would ever come across that. And then lo and behold, I go to freaking Kentucky and this shit happens.
I mean, if I'm being honest, I'm not really surprised it happened in Kentucky. There's some wild shit that goes on in Kentucky. But.
I mean, it's wild shit that happens everywhere. But like,
that's what I'm saying,
I'm going to like a school that's predominantly white and going to a place that's like I said, it didn't seem to me like some sketchy ass place. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, I mean, that's just proof of it could really happen anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like you're never really safe. I think when you think about in the grand scheme of things, between incidents happening, a shooting happened recently with some 12-year-old girl or some shit like that. Was that in California? Yeah, I believe it was. I briefly skimmed through it just because it's depressing. But I say that because you never know. It could happen. It can go down. And it could go down here while we're recording. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just never know where you're going to be or how the circumstances will change vastly. And you just got to react and kind of figure out what to do and or what not to do.
Yeah, it's... And you never know who would experience, you know, certain things. Like, I don't think people expected me to kind of experience this sort of thing ever. And it's also, you know what? Your story reminded me about, like, I actually, the situation that happened at Irving Plaza, I was actually supposed to go to that event. And for some reason, I decided not to. And it's just, like, it's crazy because, like, media people go, and like you would think that some venues are starting to improve their securities and stuff like that, but like even now we have to worry about outside and clubs and schools and all these different things, you know?
Yeah, but even that, like, and I understand, like, you know, the whole Irving Plaza shit was insane, obviously. But I just think about how artists move as well. You know what I'm saying? And the people that come with them and things of that nature. It's kind of hard to stop certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like people bringing in weapons and shit like that, or just an altercation breaking out. It's not as easy as it seems. Or that it would seem for people to kind of prevent that. I kind of think when you're a club owner or someone that has a business establishment, it kind of comes with the turf of, you know, if you're going to start getting into entertainment, you got to factor in altercations. You got to factor in drug use. You got to factor in dealing with people that may not come from such humble beginnings and dealing with what comes with that. There's a lot of variables as well with that. So I think it's just one of those things where you should factor that in and try to plan accordingly as best as possible.
Being a devil's advocate, do you feel like it's still a lose-lose situation for rappers no matter what the situation is? It's like you don't fully protect yourself with guns. I'm not saying all artists. I'm just saying, you know, artists that may have situations like this. Do you feel like if they'll lose no matter what if they don't protect themselves well enough and something happens like that, or 100%. They carry guns around and then they get caught by cops and then they go to jail for that?
I don't ever I think there's a way to go about it, right? Like, I think there's certain artists in the world that should never be alone. And I know that that may sound crazy just because everyone wants their own me time, but there's certain artists in the world that should never be just walking aimlessly.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because number one, you put yourself in a bad spot. Number two, because of your stardom and who you are as a person and how you're perceived from people, the consequences are greater. And your judgment for whatever happens, be it you punching somebody in the face, you doing whatever, even if you're defending yourself, you'll always be looked at as the person that's in the wrong, I think. And I'm sure artists, you sign up for that. You know what you're signing up for when you're becoming someone that wants to be in the spotlight. You're now. People can paint you any way they want to paint you, and it's very difficult for you to be able to escape that. I just think that there's a way to get around it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that you should be able to prevent. But
the way they get around it was either they get their security to handle a situation, or they get a homeboy to handle a situation.
But that's really what it is.
So then it's not they're not going to be at the root of the issue. It's like, oh, such and such's homeboy did that. Such and such's security did that, not that artist specifically.
But even with that, I think that's a burden too, because now if you got someone that's willing to hold a gun for you or hold drugs for you, whatever the circumstances are, and they get caught. Now it's one of those things where it's like, all right, you got to take care of them. Let's say they got family, a wife, kids, you got to take care of them. Yeah. And if you don't, if the person is that loyal enough to be doing these things for you, it's probably not the person you want to not help out in a jam. You know what I'm saying? So it's a thin line. It's either you move smarter and just, kind of plan appropriately, or you run that rat race of now having to protect yourself by any means, but knowing the consequences if something happens. If he gets jammed up, hey, you're the first person that's getting that call, and you got to deal with it. And
that's also why it's important for artists to, especially if they're from certain situations that aren't the best environments, or even if they're from the hood, like once you get to a certain stardom level, like you're not going to be able to go home. And sometimes like there may be people that don't want to see you thrive and succeed. And if you stay where you're from, and that could cause issues. But that's unfortunate that there has to be like it's like when you're an artist, you start off by repping where you're from and you love where you're from. But then if you get so big, it becomes a situation where you can't even I wouldn't necessarily say appreciate, but like still rep and be in your area because of fear of someone being jealous or security issues or anything like that.
50 said it best. It ain't good to do good in the hood. It's a fact. You could do as much repping as you want. You can you could create a whole fucking album of all the rappers in your hood. It still would never be good enough because you have people that will never reach that height or that pinnacle in their aspiring careers. And it's jealousy and it's a number of things. But it's one of those things that you can't really escape. God rest his soul, Stack Bundles. Joe and Webb and Nitty and Skane, they would all talk about it and say, you got to move out of Far Rock. You got to move out of Far Rock. And, when it happened, it was just like, damn, like he was trying to move out, but he was just so connected to his people that, and same thing for like Chinks and all these people. I just wish they had more time to kind of assess their situations a little bit better and be able to kind of, blossom into the great people and artists that they, could have been.
But I still do like how they supported their families and still appreciated where they came from. But you're right, like there has to come a point in time where you're gonna have to make an adjustment. And it's not even with rappers, like anyone that becomes successful or becomes a celebrity, you're going to have to eventually adjust and change your environment and your friends and people who are around you, because not everyone wants to see you win. That kind of, this is kind of sidetracked, but this kind of goes back to, I watched Hell's Kitchen yesterday, and there's this two finalists. And one of them was going to end up actually heading or leading the Las Vegas chain or the Las Vegas kitchen. And they would get like $250,000 annually. And it was a young 26-year-old, and then this guy who's like, I think 41, older family, and those two were competing. And basically they had to, I don't know the proper term for like what chefs do, but they had to lead their kitchen to serve family and those attending. And there was this one woman, I forget her name, but she was trying to sabotage the 26-year-old. She was a part of her team. She was trying to sabotage her challenge because she didn't want her to win, because she herself did not win. Now the other guy, his team, they were down, supportive, making sure that everything was going well. But that one girl, like, even when she was doing, like, she was expressing herself in the confessional room, she was basically saying like she don't want her the young lady to win, and she was literally trying to like mess things up. Great thing is that 26-year-old, she won, she got that opportunity. And the crazy thing was that woman who was trying to mess her stuff up, she was crying at the end, not because of being happy for the person, but because the girl that she wanted to lose and sabotage ended up winning. And when she did the confessional, she's like, I didn't come here to lose. Like, there are some foul ass, sore loser people out there in the world.
But that's what you deal with in life. You gotta think about it. Like, just in life, you're gonna deal with people that don't want to see you succeed.
Absolutely.
Like, you could be the best person in the universe. You could be super helpful. You could do a number of things to try to uplift someone. It's still, if it's not in their make, they're not going to support you. You know what I'm saying? That's what I look at a lot of times just with people. You could be the, you can expect them to do well and to be good people towards you, but the bottom line, that shit ain't happening. It's just not the world we live in. Yeah. It's not anything that you should take personally. It's just life business. That's how I look at it. It's just life business. It's just keep it moving and keep it chucking and just learn from the experiences and just learn from what they've displayed. Now, if you put yourself in that situation again where, they've displayed where they can't be trusted or have a sense of malice, then and you still fuck with them, then that's kind of on you. You asked for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, going back to that cooking thing, when that girl was crying, the other one who won, she was like, "You good?" And she kept crying. She smiled. She's like, "All right." And then she is like mad. Like, that was like some clean pettiness.
You okay, Elise? Hey, you're on the winning team. I really don't have anything to say right now. I didn't come here not to win.
Hey, can I get a real...
I love, when I was watching the whole thing, I was like, if she wins, she better be petty as fuck, because she was doing some horrible stuff trying to sabotage her. I'm sorry, I'm a nice person, but I would have been petty.
Yeah, you're queen
after.
Petty. You're
I would have
petty.
been like, but I would have been subtle petty, like hers, when she was like, "You good? Yeah, okay."
I've been working on my pettiness, though. I don't think
There's
I'm as
levels
petty.
to it.
Yeah, there's levels. I think I've done a great job in not being petty as I used to be.
I'm not usually petty, but
No, I'm really petty.
There's a level where you get that disrespect, like.
Yeah.
The pettiness is coming out. the petty cards are coming out. The pettiness.
Oh man.
But it's unfortunate that like we live in a society where like you have to be careful of your safety just because you are great at what you do. Like,
it's the
it
world
sucks.
we live in, man.
I know, but it still
dog
sucks.
Dog world is the New York state of mind. It's just what it is. I think just because I'm so numb and immune to it that I don't get affected. Like when I was younger, I would really be affected by shit. Like when people would try to be cool with me just because of people I knew or what I was doing or who I was associated with, and then I'd come to find out that they were just trying to use me. It used to really, really bother me. Now I'd just be like, all right, I'm 10 steps ahead of you. I already see you coming.
Yeah, I'm numb
I already know
too.
you. I'm cool.
I can tell like when someone. It's so funny. I have like freaking text psychic abilities. Like I can tell just by the way someone contacts me, when they contact me, how often, like if they're gonna ask for something. And like I understand, like the more you go up in this industry, like it's it's weird to say, but like if people want to use you, that's actually a good sign that you are very valuable in a sense. But
I'm all for being used.
oh yeah, I'm not saying anything about that. I'm just saying like
The misuse.
yes, like you're gonna be used because you are very valuable.
Yeah.
But in certain situations, there's a difference between soaking no, I'm about to use the wrong ass term. Squeezing an orange juice or orange with the juice out as much as no, but basically like either being like tit for tat or squeezing the life out and taking as much as you can, like how you do an orange or a lemon or anything. You squeeze the juice out as much as you can from it, and then you're gonna leave it, and it's like not usable anymore. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I had to try and get that saying redone.
Yeah, word, because that was
little slippy slide, little tight.
That was starting to sound crazy.
Listen. Ever since my surgery, like I don't get any sleep at all. So this is like a workout right now. This is a real workout for me right now.
Mental workout?
Physical, mental, even happiness workout. Like try to stay positive and happy. Like it sucks. You will, if you've never had to stay indoors and in your bed for weeks upon weeks, you will never understand the mental strife and issues that come with that. Yeah. It's some fucked up shit. Like after 2 weeks, I'm like, yo,
you got cabin fever.
Cabin fever. You start to feel low and blue, and I'm just like, yo, I need to get out. Like, I need to start walking or some shit. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you in these streets. We recorded. Nice episode.
Barely.
Tuesday episode. Now we got this episode today. We
barely got out the door. I was inching my way over, blocking up the sidewalks and shit and everything with my crutches and big ass brace.
You crutching away, girl. That's all that matters. Know what I mean?
Gotta do what I gotta do. We gotta be consistent for the fans, you know?
Speaking of the fans, make sure you guys subscribe. Grassroots Podcast, that's on Instagram, Grassroots Pod on Twitter. Contact grassrootspod at gmail.com for artist submissions as we do our weekly playlist sponsored by Audio Mac, or partner with Audio Mac rather. And also make sure you guys comment. Tell us about some of the things that you guys have gone through, maybe some traumatic situations or I guess life lessons that you've learned throughout the course of your journey within this beautiful world.
Yeah, and be sure, on my right, be sure to check out some of our other podcast episodes, and to Brandon's left, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already to be part of our grassroots journey and our family and get to see more dope exclusive content that we have in store.
Yeah, I like that. You bodied that.
Hey!
You bodied that.
And join our group chat. Link at the
Oh
bottom.
yeah, can't forget. Link at the bottom description. Join our group chat. It's a group chat we've cremated. What the fuck? I'm tired. It's a group chat that we've created.
We're even now.
Created for our grassroots community. It's fastly growing. We talk about everything, literally everything in there. So you'll see the link at the bottom of this. I guess that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm Brandon, Killabh Hall.
I'm Erin Ashley Simon.
And we out. You've been rooted.
Hey.